Hi, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Dr. Jessica, the naturopathic doctor here at the Coach House. And today we're joined with Jen Novakovic of EcoWell, a local-based company that focuses on chemical-free and sustainable personal care products. Jen, tell us about yourself.
Well, I've always been interested in skincare products. I have a long history of having acne-prone skin. When I was in university, I initially went for zoology, but I started to really get more interested in the impacts that lifestyle interventions could make, including in your skincare products. So when I was in university, I started off with zoology, and then I started introducing more nutrition and nutraceutical courses into my course load, and I really started to immerse myself. I ended up graduating with a double major. I went on to do some postgraduate studies, and then I started my career as a science writer, and then eventually I started working for skincare manufacturers. So that's kind of my background in a nutshell. But when I was working in the industry, I started to notice that some manufacturers were doing some questionable things that kind of bothered me. I'm very science oriented, so when I saw false claims on labels, it irked me. The packaging, there is so much wasteful packaging, and I feel like most people aren't really thinking about the sustainability of their products. The whole supply chain can have significant effects, and even all natural products aren't necessarily a good thing if they're using unsustainably sourced, for example, palm oil, or even certain essential oils. So I started my business in June to really engage people with all of these issues, and then also empower women to start formulating their own products, knowing the ingredients, the therapeutic potential of different ingredients, and then at the very least, if they're not making their own products afterwards, they can go and interpret ingredient lists, which I think is such an empowering add-on to anyone's lifestyle.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about your business? So you do personal care products that you do sell, and then you also have workshops, correct?
Yep. So I do public talks across Ontario. I would really like to expand them across Canada, and then do-it-yourself workshops, which again I'd like to expand. So I talk a lot on sustainability in the industry, about science, and sourcing local. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And then the do-it-yourself workshops, we make 3 different products as a group. We talk a lot on the therapeutic potential of different ingredients, and then everyone gets to have a fun experiment, and then they all take it home at the end of the night.
Perfect. And so March for us is our customer appreciation month. So keeping with that, we are actually going to have Jen show us how to make your own personal care skin scrub with all the ingredients that you can find at home. So now we're going to have Jen show us 2 different body scrubs you can make at home.
So the scrubs we're going to be making are going to be sugar scrubs, which is one of my favorite scrubs to make. It's so easy, and typically you always have the ingredients right in your kitchen. So I'm going to start with putting maybe 4 tablespoons of sugar to start, so in each of the bowls. So just so you know, I'm making enough to fill these 2-ounce containers. So the next step is putting an oil with it. So you want to make like a nice soupy mixture. But really, if you don't like a soupy mixture for your face scrubs, feel free to use a little less. That's a great thing about do-it-yourself beauty, is there's so much personalization, so you can make exactly what you like. So the oil I'm going to be using is avocado oil. So I'm just going to pour over it. So there's a whole layer. It's completely covering the sugar. So realistically, it'll probably be about a 1-to-1 ratio. And now the next steps is to differentiate your body scrubs. We'll be choosing some add-ins. So we've got 2 options today. So for one, I'm going to be using turmeric, which is my favorite ingredient to use. It's so versatile. Traditionally used in Ayurvedic medicine for, inflammation primarily, but it's also great for eczema and acne. If I have a breakout, I'll use it for spot treatment. So if you have, for example, acne, turmeric is a great option to use. So you can use as much as you want, but be aware that turmeric will stain your skin. So definitely wash your skin off really well. I've had some personal really embarrassing moments of not washing turmeric off and then going out in public. So don't do that. Make sure you can see your face or body in proper lighting before you head out the door. So for me, I like more turmeric, so I'm going to put about a tablespoon into my mix. But if you're really worried about the staining, then maybe put less, or you can even bypass the turmeric. But for me, the benefits of turmeric seriously overcome any of the obstacles with it staining your skin. So about a tablespoon in there. And for the essential oils for this mask, there's so many different options, but I really like the citrusy essential oils for me, for the blends that I make with turmeric. So the ones that we're going to be using today, we've got, this isn't citrusy, but really combines well, but we've got grapefruit, and then we've got sweet orange. Just something for you to know if you go and make any products other than scrub with it. If you're going to leave it on your skin, be aware that certain most citrus essential oils will cause photosensitivity before you go out into the sun, except for sweet orange. So if you're going to go out into the sun and you're making something like a body butter and you really like citrus, use sweet orange instead of grapefruit. But they're both really antiseptic and very cheerful essential oils. So I'm making 2 ounces. So the general dilution that you're looking for is about 1%, 2%, 3%, and what does that mean? So 1% dilution in 1 ounce is about 5 drops, 2% is like 10 to 12, and 3% is about 15 to 20. So we've got 2 ounces, so we're just going to double that. I think it's a good practice to start with 1% just to make sure it's not going to be too harsh for your skin, and it's also a good way to save money on essential oils. So 1% for the 2 ounce container would be about 10 drops of each essential oil. So I'm going to put 10 drops of the sweet orange. And then 10 drops of the grapefruit. And then the last essential oil that I have to complement the mixture, especially to complement the turmeric in there, is rosemary. So rosemary is a very anti-inflammatory essential oil. If you find yourself with puffy eyes, for example, making a ointment with rosemary is a really great option, as well as with turmeric, but definitely don't want to leave it there. Something to know about rosemary and a lot of the other essential oils that have its phenolic characteristics, they have a phenol group in their chemical structure. They're very harsh, so you want to use a lower dilution. I like to start for these essential oils with 0.5%. So in here, it would be 5 drops for the 2 ounce container. So examples of the other phenolic essential oils include, other than rosemary, there's thyme essential oil, there's clove bud essential oil, and then there's also oregano essential oil. So for here, I'm going to put 5 drops of this essential oil in my mixture. And then mix my mixture up. So this consistency to me is, I'm happy with that, but feel free to put more or less oil of your choice to make it either soupier or more dry. So this is scrub number 1, and then scrub number 2, I'm going to make it with coffee grinds, which is even good as a product in itself. You can make a scrub just with the coffee grinds. Something that I like to do if I'm going to use the scrub right away is I'll have my coffee first and then use the wet grinds, because you get a lot more of the nutrients from the coffee when it's just been immersed in water for a little while. One thing about using a wet grind, anytime that you introduce water into your formula, I would use it sooner rather than later, because generally the wet formulas with water need some sort of preservative to make sure that there's not a whole bunch of microbial growth after a week. So for this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of the coffee grinds. And there are so many different essential oils that will pair really well with the coffee. For example, the citrus, I really like a citrusy coffee mix, but just for some differentiation, I'm going to use geranium, tea tree, and lavender essential oil, which are very soothing essential oils. They really combine well together. I'll give you a bit of information about all three, and then you can decide whether or not you want to use them. Lavender, we typically think of an essential oil that's good for anxiety, for sleep, but it is so versatile for pretty much any skin condition. So if you have acne, eczema, sensitive skin, lavender is a good essential oil to choose. Just so you know, if you're going to purchase any essential oil, I recommend lavender. So we're going to do 1% dilution. So for this, I'm going to put 10 drops of the lavender. And then the next essential oil, there's geranium, not rose geranium. So geranium is great, especially for, most skin conditions. It's quite versatile like lavender, but then also it's exceptionally good if you have aging skin. So I'm going to put 10 drops of the geranium. And then the final essential oil that I have today is tea tree. You probably know a whole bunch about tea tree, so anything antiseptic. So if you have acne, for example, tea tree is a good thing to turn to. Wounds, you can make a little ointment. So this is going to be a great scrub for any skin condition, but especially if you have eczema or acne. So I'm going to put 10 drops of the tea tree essential oil. And then mix it all up. And voila, you have your second scrub.
So thank you to Jen from EcoWell for showing us how to make these 2 scrubs. These are great examples of some of the products that you would make in some of her workshops. If you'd rather just purchase instead of making your own, she does do a great line. Here she has some healing salve and some lip balms that she brought along. We'll have more information on the blog about where you can find her products and more information about Jen and everything we talked about today. Thanks to Jen again for joining us, and thank you for watching.